Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, and with some more current news, and some of you may have noticed this online or in your newspapers, and it's about student loan debt, quote unquote. With so many young people now, especially current generations and millennials in particular, suffering from a heavy load of quote unquote student loan debt, it seemed appropriate for me to offer some quote unquote alternative, yet highly relevant issues, not to mention ones very familiar to me over the course of 4 decades of intense, passionate, and independent study of the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States, which, just like you, I did not learn and which have not been taught in the mandatory public education system, not to mention law schools, for at least 80 years. Not surprisingly, most of this discussion will focus on the quote-unquote money issue, one of my multiple unopposed constitutional issues, with which no bureau rat, most especially state bar association attorneys, in his right mind should want to engage me. There is only time here for the RDCV version, that's Reader's Digest condensed version, of this situation, but you can learn a lot more about this and other issues with the acquisition of my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. More information can be got by sending me an email at uwincourt@gmail.com, and some bonus materials will be also sent that are related to your situation. Those of you who have had some familiarity with the Constitution might believe that the lender loans you lawful money of the United States, also known as gold and silver coin, but this is not only not true, but the deceit, fraud, and even treason in the loan agreement, quote unquote, renders any such agreement unenforceable in any state judicial court of common law general jurisdiction. In legal parlance, it's said to be null and void, nunc pro tunc ab initio. Now, this is where it gets interesting real fast, since in the exchange for nothing more than a few strokes of a computer keyboard, you received, as it were, Federal Reserve notes, which even the Federal Reserve concedes are evidences of debt, aka on the street IOUs, with the undefined dollar. Yet they want you to repay in the form of your property, in the form of your time and labor, probably over the course of decades of your life. You then learn that as a quote-unquote taxpayer, that the IRS operates on the quote-unquote principle that you have a zero interest in your time and labor, also known as your life, which the government thinks it owns. And it gets worse when you know that the 9/0 farts have ruled that a quote-unquote taxpayer can be taxed out of existence without any apparent need for an administrative hearing, let alone with the right to trial by jury, which you foolishly, not to mention incorrectly, think you have, and that you have no rights cognizable to the Constitution in the receipt of social insecurity benefits. I am not making any of this up, as you will clearly see with the acquisition of my constitutional defense document packet materials, with proof from the highest official actors, quote unquote. I am not making any of this up, as you will clearly see with the acquisition of my constitutional defense document packets, with proof from the highest quote-unquote official actors. That said, I wouldn't be here if not for the fact that I have a lot of common sense answers to all of this bureaucratic BS, much of which will be readily recognized by a classroom full of fourth graders that will present multiple unopposed constitutional issues which will threaten those who knowingly and willfully violate our rights. Be assured, however, this will not be an easy fight, yet I am approaching my 13th year all in the belief that we do have rights and remedies secured by all 6 articles of the Constitution. In my 21-0 record against attorneys and without opposition from the local dumbasses, aka State Bar Association attorneys, bears me out, as my documented record establishes, including my seemingly impossible blowout win in my South Carolina felony case, where I struck down the entirety of the legal apparatus of the de facto South Carolina government, literally all the way to the State House, This while alone in a jail cell, locked down 18 hours a day, and with no known right to effective assistance of counsel. As Jefferson was reportedly inspired to note that, quote unquote, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. And this is what will be essential here. The good news is you will have to learn how to cope with a lot of other situations while being able to pass on to your children and your posterity information and knowledge that the government does not want you to have, and can effectively defuse situations like quote unquote student loan debt and help prevent your children from getting there at all. More good news. Unlike me, you do not have to engage the bastards 24/7, as my constitutional defense document packet materials will provide a broad and easily understandable scope of knowledge upon which you can build while beginning to invoke your creator endowed inalienable rights, having the power to control the government which was ordained and established along with this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. I have enjoyed being the one now rolling the loaded dice, albeit with a lot more work to do, and with my life ahead of me at the age of 70, and will be only too pleased to show you how to do exactly the same thing. Please remember to like my videos, feel free to subscribe to me, tell your friends about this video, and send me an email at uwinnincourt@gmail.com. Thank you.